Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jello, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to a network? From where did these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accused telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons the prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why they have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format. To the beat, because on the dance floor is where we'll meet. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get all up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get all up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get all up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
And move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor.
Get on up, baby. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up, baby.
Feel the groove, get on the floor.
What's up, family? Feel the groove, get on the floor, gotta get on up. What's up, family? How we doing tonight? Thank you for joining me for a late night edition of Random Topic Tuesdays. I've been in meetings. I have been in court. I am like Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. How we doing tonight, family? Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Hit that notification bell as well. We are live in this chat. We're live, and I'm coming at you with 5. I want to first off thank you all to everyone that's responded on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube who checked out the live stream Sunday when we had Todd Jackson from the Jackson family, son of Tito Jackson, eldest son, come on my channel. I was blessed to have him come on. So special shout out to him. I got to hit him up actually after tonight. Now, some of you have not been able to pull up the video because YouTube, really Sony, blocked my channel, blocked that video, I should say, because I played, even though I was giving commentary over it, the Can You Feel It video. So even with playing and muting it, they give you copyright strikes. So what I did, like I have always done, is fight. And I have basically appealed it for fair use purposes because you all heard me giving commentary throughout the program and on that segment with me, both me and Taj. And also, if you need to see the video can still be seen on my backup channel, Gavin Richard. So if you go there, you can check it out. Or I've put a link as well to Twitter on Periscope, where YouTube has no control over that. You can check it out there. So if you want to see the movie, you want to see the video, I should say, that's actually the best place to go and get it and to take a look and read and watch it, rewind it. So it was a great program. It was great. We enjoyed it. I was just impressed to have, Taj come on. Taj was a very humble guy. Yeah, Taj is 50. Taj is Taj is almost 50. Danielle, yeah. Danielle got her AARP card, and she had an AARP card when she was in the pregnancy wards. I'm just messing with you, Danielle. I'm messing with your old baby mama ass. Just no, I love you, Danielle. No, they never stopped messing with me, but you know what? They can't stop me. And yeah, Todd is a good dude. But YouTube or ScrewTube, as I like to call them, they a lot of people I've noticed too are pushing back about Bill Cosby. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm trying not to make this a long live stream. I want to actually, I mean this in honesty, keep it to at least an hour. I say that sometimes and go over, but I'm trying to because We only got two topics. Yeah, I did see you sent me something about Bill Cosby, computer robots. I'm going to listen to it on my way to work and give my commentary probably later in the week. They will not stop talking about Cosby because, Bill Cosby announced that he wanted to go on the road and do stand up again. And you had people like, well, hold on a second. You had people calling him out, saying he needs to stay the fuck home. I saw people like Gary Hardwick, who I was tempted to respond on my Facebook, but he was talking about it. And it's always niggas saying something. I'm gonna be real. And one person in particular, I ain't never heard of her, but this Amber Ruffin, who I believe is a comedian, it appears. Of course, she had to give her 2 cents. Bill Cosby, just like R. Kelly, unfortunately, and like R. Kelly, um, Michael Jackson, bunch of black men, they're low hanging fruit. But she says makes you feel better knowing where he's at all times. Trying to do comedy, and this went viral. So she's a comedian and commented about this. Said Bill Cosby is reportedly going on tour. And I was like, what? What kind of tour? An apology tour? Why would you pay money to see Bill Cosby? Well, he's going to make more money on tour. There are going to be more people on tours going to see Bill Cosby than they're going to see Amber Ruffin. I can tell you that much. Bill Cosby, here's the thing you have to realize. It doesn't surprise me when people take jokes and cracks at them. As a comedian myself, I can't say, and I will never say, and I will never say what a comedian can and cannot say. People have a right to, comedians have a right to their jokes. However, people also have a right to respond and not to respond. People also have a right not to laugh at it. And Bill Cosby, whether people want to admit it or not, he was not, whether like it or not, he was not convicted, and I keep reiterating that, of rape. Even in that trial, and people still say he's guilty, he has never ever been in a court of law, because that is what determines whether a person is a convicted rapist, a convicted murderer, a convicted drug dealer, a convicted thief, a convicted liar, which is perjury. That it is the court of law that determines that, not the court of public opinion. And if he wants to go on tour, he can go on tour. Who the fuck are you all that you could tell someone where they can't? This is the thing with people. Like, he just needs to sit fuck home. You can't tell anybody shit. You haven't made the amount of money that this man has. You haven't traveled the road he has. Whether you like him or not, he has paid his dues as a comedian. And even when he was talking about being on, he even mentioned in an interview, I haven't listened to it, but he said, I never called myself a king of comedy. He never called himself America's dad. We put that moniker on him. NBC put that moniker on him because he drew in a crowd. He drew in ratings. He drew in money. That's what it's about. It's about putting asses in seats, and people are going at this man. It's not a surprise. I mean, and I've been in comedy, when I was at the comedy club, somebody made a joke about Bill Cosby. I didn't like it. Well, I got jokes. I could tell jokes about the women if I wanted to. I have, about the situation. They got comedians that have done that. Yeah, it can trend. They always listen. Him going viral for saying he was gonna go do a comedy tour. That's why everybody brings this up. They still have these bogus lawsuits against Dr. Cosby that, uh, in my chance, will never happen again. Will go nowhere. Somebody wrote, the old geezer couldn't sexually assault himself no more. Move on. He's a broken down old man. Who would pay to see that awful dude? Who pays to see other awful dudes? Yeah, I've never heard of Amber Ruffin, and she damn sure ain't related. She be related to David. And did she do that talk show? Okay, so she hosts her own. Oh, that explains it. So she comes on. She comes on after the Seth Meyers, which means that's super late. Like they put you on when you can't even, when you're not even seeing. And she's been critically acclaimed. Okay, glad award. Yeah, so this makes sense. Why I've never heard of her. They put her on super late. So like you've heard of you obviously know the Late Show with David Letterman, and then it should be not Andy Cohen, the British dude that hosts the show now, James Corbin, hosts that Late Show, and then they got another Late Show after that. Yeah, I remember this. Let's say I don't remember it. So, and she's married to Dutch painter John Jan Schlittmeyer. Schlittmeyer. All right. Yeah, she was a writer for the Black Lady sketch show. Yeah, who watches that? I remember when they took shots at Tariq Nasheed. Yeah. So it does. I mean, look, they're gonna do that, but guess what? You don't have to listen to them. Bill Cosby still achieved more than what these people will ever do. You know, the comedy that they had in the '60s and '70s that can never be eclipsed. And they want to still call him a rapist if they want. Go ahead. The truth is out there. Well, the truth has been told, because this book on Kindle tells it. You need to go purchase that if you have not. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. That's on Kindle right now as we speak. So let's talk about something. We're talking about truth. A couple of things I want to get into. So this Dana White situation, a lot of people are talking about it. What's up, Lamika? What's up, Danielle? Computer robots. Dana White, as you know, I talked about this on Thursday with Sean James, is the UFC president, the president of Ultimate Fighting Champion, which is owned by the company Endeavor. Now, back on New Year's Eve, there was a video that was someone was recording, obviously from their phone, an incident involving Dana White and his wife, where they were slapping each other. She slapped him first, I should point out, to where he's responded in kind and slapped her twice. Now, the video went viral, and the outrage, however, was solved. It was meh versus if it were Ray Rice, when it was Ray Rice, or I should say rather, when it was Kareem Hunt, when it was Joe Mixon, anyone else. It was a worldwide event, to the point that someone asked for the link, to the point that your Ray Rice is no longer in the NFL after an incident that had already been after this incident was already brought to the commissioner's attention, when both he and his wife saw the NFL commissioner and admitted that yes, hit my wife, but she admitted it was in the police report and it was on video that she struck first. Not only did she strike him first, she spat on him. Yet ESPN, that's the link to the book, by the way, John Winthrop, my man. Brother John's got Cajun Fire Brewery. Y'all buy some of his beer. Only black-owned beer company here in the South. Subscribe to the Facebook page for me, John, at Commonwealth Cause, right there, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. Yeah, Ray Rice has never been in the league ever since that incident. He can't get back in the league, and he lost everything. He was not given the benefit of he was not given second chances. He was not allowed to come back at all. And I mean at all to play for anyone. He was just cut and went away. And the league knew about this. And while he did get his, I want to say they did come to an agreement and he filed a complaint for wrongful termination. They did reach some type of settlement. But the 2013 season was his final season with the Baltimore Ravens. And I must say, I didn't like the video that I saw when it happened. Of course not. Nobody did. But when we talk about what's happening with Dana White, we got when speaking of Bill Cosby, and I find this interesting, someone decided to throw their 2 cents about Dana White and this situation, writing for the Atlantic. Oh, yes. The sports scandal almost nobody is talking about, by Jemele Hill. Of course, we know Jemele Hill, the former ESPN anchor who was let go from that show Numbers Don't Lie. I believe was it Numbers Don't Lie? That she had with old boy, that other black dude that got slapped by Hugh Douglas. Remember Hugh Douglas got into it with him? He's from New Orleans, actually. Was it Hugh Douglas? Because Hugh Douglas was working for ESPN at one point. And I think he had an altercation with. No, I apologize. He didn't hit him. He called. It was Numbers Never Lie was the show, and then they switched it to His and Hers with Michael Smith, and he called Michael Smith an Uncle Tom. And Yoda. Now we haven't seen Yoda in a while. I heard a book sold 5,000. So far for working for yourself. But you know, I remember when Jemele Hill is in that hit piece. It's not a documentary, it's a mockumentary. We need to talk about Cosby. I haven't forgotten about my commentary on it, but she was one of the detractors and people throwing Bill Cosby under the bus. And now, not just her, of course, I saw people on there from Michael Jai White. I saw Chris Spencer, the comedian. You had Maurice Lamont Hill. I'm surprised. My only person I wasn't surprised in that mockumentary that wasn't in it was Michael Eric Dyson. I was expecting Dr. Dyson to be in it, but he wasn't. But Jemele Hill criticized her former employer, ESPN, in this article. And she writes, and I'll start. Of course, you all know, and you've seen the video. But and as you go through it, there are plenty of. She explains the situation that happened and how Dana White, and I'll give her credit for it. He has been downplaying the situation, And yes, there are examples of athletes and other sports figures facing some repercussions when credibly accused of domestic violence. There's intense public scrutiny, suspension, loss of income, or in extreme cases, their employment. But curiously, since the video's release, White has not been subject to any avalanche of media coverage or nonstop discussions about whether he should be fired, fined, or otherwise. His behavior hasn't been condemned by UFC's parent company, Endeavor, or UFC's biggest television partner, ESPN, which reached a 5-year, $1.5 billion broadcast rights deal in 2018 to air mixed martial arts events, and then in 2019 extended the arrangement to make ESPN the sports exclusive pay-per-view provider. This is correct. The major stakeholders in the UFC are best positioned to hold White accountable, but they don't seem particularly motivated to get involved. Endeavor isn't commenting, and neither is ESPN. In fact, when I requested comment, a spokesperson declined to elaborate on network officials' coverage decisions and instead emailed me multiple clips showing ESPN's news coverage of White across the network's digital television, radio, and podcasting platforms. Now, what she goes into, she talks about how she worked for 12 years at ESPN and that she knows intimately the difference between cursory coverage and a nonstop national conversation fueled by the massive sports media machine. The most recent example of the letter is the Brooklyn Nets star of the latter is the Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving, who became a daily fixture in ESPN's news coverage and commentary after he was suspended for posting a link on his social media to an anti-Semitic film. Then she talks about how I left the network several years ago amid a dispute with its top management, a matter that I and others have written about extensively. Okay, yes, you were let go when you were fired, from what I heard, because people were tired of that force of the. Because remember, Jamel Hill was suspended. She was suspended for violation of social media guidelines. Really, 2 weeks. She was suspended for 2 weeks because she was upset. She said fans that were upset for Jerry Jones' threat to bench players who did anything that is disrespectful to the flag should boycott the advertisers who support Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. The problem is that the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football, they still got to come on ESPN. You got to realize that too. And Jamel got suspended for 2 weeks, and subsequently on January 25th in 2018, ESPN showed her the door. And then back later in October, she got a job working for The Atlantic, which you see in this article today. Now, she co-hosts the show on Vice Network with Carrie Champion, who used to be on there. And let's not forget, I remember all of these women on these shows, these sports shows, they have almost the same, not all of them. But it's always, I notice, the same attitude as it comes to black men, because Jamel Hill has a problem with black men. She's co-signed that article that the Root Rio put out that showed black men were the white supremacists of the black community. What she said about Bill Cosby, how she's just been, and she doesn't have that smoke for other groups. Here she looks like she's obviously lashing out more her employer in their reaction to what Dana White did. The ESPN writer and editor Jeff Wagenheim essentially confirmed my observation that the network is intentionally going easy on White. Wagenheim tweeted, "We've been told to not write anything incendiary or on social media about the Dana White situation, and I understand why and have abided by that. I just ask y'all to understand that some of us at ESPN do not have as soft a take as this on domestic violence. Now, I'm not co-signing anything Dana White did, but notice it's aimed at Dana White. The story is about Dana White, as I talked about with Sean, and not at his wife, who we saw first put her hands on him. And in fact, remember, Molly Querum and Stephen A. Smith. Well, Stephen A. Smith called Dana White his friend, his brother. I love him. And Molly Querum pointed out how she's known Dana White for a long time and respects him, and stated that nobody should put their hands on each other. His wife touched him first. But you see, the problem with this, guys, is that it is only when it is black men that the nobody touches nobody situation doesn't come up. Black men are not supposed to act a certain way regardless, even if you are attacked first. Y'all remember a couple of weeks ago, the Raiders Patriots game, when a fan got in the face of another young black man after the game. He was harassed. And he was awarded tickets the next week. He sat in the owner's box with Robert Kraft. Watch this. Hold on, watch this.
Jerry Edmond, a Milford native who's been a Patriots fan for as long as he's been watching football, was attending his first ever game in person. And he says a Raiders fan sitting nearby began pestering him almost immediately.
And the lady first came over to me and told me it's disrespectful for me to cheer for the Patriots in the Raiders stadium. I got confused. I didn't really understand what she meant by that.
Jerry says he tried to watch his words, but admits to a little trash talk.
Anytime Derek Carr would make like a bad pass or anything like that, I'd yell out, "That's the Derek Carr I know."
Those words apparently didn't sit well, and as soon as the game ended, that Raiders fan lost control.
Watching that last play, that's kind of when she kind of went berserk and then like screaming in my face and everything like that.
Jerry says he just tried to maintain his composure. He says as a black man, he had to make sure he did nothing that could be misconstrued.
Yeah, I just didn't want to get arrested. I didn't want to ruin my trip. I didn't want to ruin the game for myself.
He didn't want to ruin the game for himself. He didn't want it to get misconstrued. See, black men have to live in fear. They can be wronged and still be wronged by the law. He had to play to this woman's hand when she was the aggressor. She was in his personal space. And if he pushed her off, don't you think for a second that Molly Querum and Stephen A. Smith wouldn't have been on him like white on rice?
But the saga didn't end there. Video of the episode went viral on TikTok, and among the 7.5 million people who saw it was Patriots owner Robert Kraft. Jerry says he never expected what came next.
Patriots called me up and offered me 4 club seats to tomorrow's game against the Bengals. And they're giving me field passes and a custom jersey. Honestly, I have no idea how my emotions are going to go, because it's going to be like, this to me is going to be like my first experience watching them home live. And I just know I'm going to be very excited.
He wouldn't have gotten those tickets if he had slapped the shit out of her. And he was within his rights to push her away from him. But he had to play to that stereotype. And you're absolutely right, Tyree. When Michelle Beadle went out at Stephen A. Smith, tweeted that stuff, she didn't get punished like Jamel Hill did. Jamel Hill got suspended. Stephen A. Smith was the one that got suspended for what he said was I misspoke, but I understood what he was talking about because men respond physically when they are threatened, when they are attacked. You respond physically when you're humiliated, if your space is, if you're violated in some way. That's just how men are. That's how we're wired. And there has to be, and there is a cautionary tale that has to be sent to women. Hey, when a man tells you shut it down, shut it the fuck down. Don't throw nothing at me. Don't put your hands on me if I'm walking away. I'm not condoning putting your hands on a woman by no means. Absolutely not. I got a mother. I have aunts. I have cousins, baby cousins. I got nieces. I got a niece. My God, baby, if anybody did something to her, if her father didn't do it, I would take him out. I would stand up. If he didn't do it, I would. That's the type of man I am. And I gotta be clarified. When I take him out, I'm not talking about killing nobody. But of course I can't say that on YouTube. Wink wink. Legal purposes, I can't say I'm gonna do something illegal. I'm gonna defend my family and my friends. I'll just put it that way. My daughters, if I have daughters one day, but my little nieces and cousins, if they're being violated, yeah, I will come to their rescue. If it was in my presence, yeah, that's just how we are. And men are wired that way. But you saw from that video I just showed you, that brother had to basically be neutered in order to avoid punishment. But that's the thing that black men go through. And your Dana White can be seen on video doing this to his wife, and he's given a pass by the worldwide leader in sports. Now, I don't own this video, of course. This is the footage. Now, she slaps him, and he slaps her. Now, she clearly was in the wrong. She instigated it. But you look at Stephen A. Smith, and yes, he came out and did the song and dance. And this is the guy, we talked about it Thursday. This is the guy who went at Ray Rice, one of the people. This network is the very network that went at Ray Rice. And you look at Stephen A., you look at Molly Querom, and you listen to them, they seem more apologetic than he does, than he was. I don't own the rights to this. This is commentary. I know ESPN, they may hold a copyright strike on me, but this is fair use. Whose mom has nothing good to say about him? Dana White?
Statement. Nothing like this has ever happened before. So, though White is the face of the UFC, Stephen A.
We got to take his word for it. Now, he is the face of the UFC, but you know who else is not talking? Is Endeavor. And Endeavor, ladies and gentlemen, is owned by the Endeavor Group Holdings. And what the lead person of that group, the CEO, there's two people, Patrick Whitesell and none other than Ari Emanuel. Now, I'll get to them in a minute because obviously you know the Emanuel name, but let's
an entity owned by Endeavor. What type of discipline should Dana face?
Well, my immediate response to that is whatever discipline he should face is the kind of discipline he would impose upon someone he oversees, because that would be consistent with who he is.
Really, Stephen A? No fines, no suspension, no he needs to be put out the league like you did Kyrie Irving because he didn't want to take his medicine. Let's just put it that way. He exercised his First Amendment rights. And you say this.
Now, I will openly confess to you, and I certainly, we shouldn't end this segment without getting your take on this. I will tell you this. Dana White is not just somebody
Let's look at the
that's
comments. This
connected in
is
the
where
world.
ESPN is going. There's 200. Shout out to Rosa Agro Farm. He's got over 500,000 subscribers. Wow. 2,000 people disliked this to 418. Not that they were disliking Brother Rosa Agro Farm, but this video, because this is the same ESPN. They judged every black man from Kyrie Irving, from Ray Rice to Kareem Hunt, Joe Mixon. They had a whole freaking show on Deshaun Watson. They brought on the lawyer for the women. They didn't bring on Deshaun Watson's lawyer. No, because he does a lot of it. This fool with the African American Jason Voorhees hairline, like the fucking black RoboCop.
Sports. He's a friend. I love the guy personally. So this is a very hard subject for me. We talk all the time. We certainly connected.
Where's the
briefly
journalistic
since this
integrity?
happened. He knew there's no way on earth that I wasn't going to talk about it. My heart goes out to his family because this is a very, very embarrassing situation. He says it has never, ever happened before. He's completely ashamed and utterly disgusted with himself that he finds himself in this situation, that he would ever have done such a thing to a woman he's been married to for 30 years, who's the mother of his 3 children. And he makes no excuses for it. And I think it's important to point that out. I also think it's important to point out that she validates what he asserts, that it's never happened before, that it was completely out of character. And she even pointed to the fact that they were out and they were drinking and all of that other stuff as well. In the end, he's not making any excuse.
Didn't that happen with Ray Rice? Hold up a second. Didn't Ray Rice say that as well as his wife? They went to the commissioner and told him they were drinking. They had videos they leaked out. I saw the same video. I saw 2 videos. I saw the video, 3 videos actually. What happened inside the elevator, what happened when they were getting out of the elevator, and when they were subsequently arrested. And they were intoxicated. Both of them were. They admitted it. And they got married subsequently, even after this happened. They claimed the same thing, and you had people like I'm gonna just say, like your Kerry Champions, Joy Reid, excuse me. I think Goldie Taylor is the one I'm thinking of. All those black women, all of the ones you can think of possibly saying, "Oh, something wrong with her." She don't know what she thinking. She a child. You need to get off this thing now. He wasted no time laying into his wife. Stephen Head Smith.
Excuses. It's certainly not for me nor anybody out there to make an excuse, because particularly within the times that we're living in and with all the things that we've learned and the inordinate amount of times we've had to address subjects like this, we have to maintain consistency in pointing out, you do not put your hands on a woman if you are a man. You do not do it. Dana White knows that. And
here's the thing, you haven't been consistent. This is not consistent. This is not consistent from you, Stephen A. This is not consistent from you, Molly Querum. This is not consistent for you as an entire network, ESPN. You have attacked black men for transgressions even far less, or based on just on accusations. Deshaun Watson has never been convicted. He ain't never been charged. I could say a whole bunch of shit about somebody. If it ain't in court, if it's not before a judge and jury, it's bullshit. I'm not going to say it's not false. I'm not going to say it's not true, but Let the courts determine that. Just look at this. One writer from this is Brendan Tobin. He said, I would have rather ESPN ignore Dana White than handle it like they have. They have covered this up and washed over it with the softest touch. WQAM, he said, we all know about what happened, but I'm just going to briefly read what he's stating, quoting this host for morning show WQAM. Brendan Tobin said Thursday, he thought the worldwide leader has put on the kid gloves when it comes to this story. I thought, man, Disney having this on them, I thought for sure was going to be something that is going to lend to him getting punished. Tobin told his co-host Leroy Horde. And it's been the opposite. They have covered this up and washed it over with the softest of soft. What they did was kind of just give him a pass and say he's a friend. Tobin added of the discussion on First Take about the story. And I was thinking to myself, man, I would rather you just ignore it than we touched on it and how this is how we did it. But here's the thing. They do this. If there's a reason why Dana White got a pass, about a $1.5 billion reason. Yeah, Dana White came at Ray Rice. Now, there are some senators out in California, women, who are calling for Dana White to be fired. They're not letting this go unscathed, ladies and gentlemen. They are asking for Dana White to be fired, according to Yahoo News. California Women's Caucus calls on Endeavor to remove Dana White as UFC president after slapping his wife. They wrote a letter stating, quote, enough is enough. It is time to remove Mr. White from his leadership role. Now, notice in the letter, they, in part, I'm just reading this paragraph. I haven't read the entire letter, but the letter is about 2 pages. They do not cite the fact that his wife touched him first. It's what he did to her. They wrote this letter to Ari Emanuel from Endeavor, Senator Nancy Skinner, who's the chair for the California Legislative Women's Caucus. She said, our caucus, which is both bicameral and bipartisan, is composed of women across the state of California who are committed to creating better lives for women and girls. We care deeply about intimate partner violence, and we have seen how partner violence affects the lives of children and families. Most importantly, we are deeply aware of how impactful our actions are on the minds of young people who learn from what we tolerate and what we condemn. This is the letter. Given Mr. White's previous remarks about domestic partner violence, we believe that Endeavor and the UFC shared this commitment to safety, respect, and accountability. You yourself have written extensively about the need to speak out and act when we see things are not in line with our values. And yet we have seen the video of UFC President Dana White where he strikes his wife at a New Year's Eve celebration with a closed fist. We are appalled. It was alarming to say the least. I didn't see a closed fist punch. I saw a slap. But nevertheless, yes, he hit her. But notice she hit him, and they do not mention this in this letter. Not once. In the days since the video you was released, you have remained silent. Your continued silence speaks volumes. As you once wrote, silence and inaction are not an option. We agree, and we are urging you to take immediate action. Like you, we are people who live by our values. I doubt that. We too are people of action. We are allies against violence, advocates for women, and we are parents like yourself. This is why it is clear to us we are calling for the immediate removal of Mr. White as president of the UFC. They say, as chief executive officer of Endeavor, the UFC's parent company, you have the authority to decide who leads the UFC, which is one of the world's most watched sporting leagues with millions of fans across the globe. Mr. White is not only the external face of the UFC, he's the leader who sets the expectations for the athletes as well. He is the leader who explained in years past that he stands firmly against domestic violence. If an athlete were to commit violence against their partner, Mr. White is the leader within UFC who would have to determine the consequence. The eyes of the world are on him and on Endeavor. The head of the major sporting organization cannot claim to be for the safety of women while a video of him striking his wife continues to circulate online without a response from you. But again, and you look at this, they don't point out what she did to him. See, if you're against domestic violence shouldn't be you're just limited to male on female. It should be female on male, male on female, male on male, female on female, whatever. Violence against any person is wrong, regardless of the gender. Now, what I try to tell young, especially brothers, especially in a situation with domestic violence, if your woman is getting to be too much, if she is being a nuisance, if she is verbally abusive, physically abusive, then maybe it's time to reevaluate your relationship by leaving, not coming back, and finding somebody else. Because if she treats that you bad in any way, then she's not a woman you want to have. She's not the woman you want to be around. But I mentioned Ari Emanuel. He is the brother of Rahm Emanuel, the ambassador to Japan, the same Rahm Emanuel who was mayor at the time of Laquan McDonald's murder and covered it up, along with the police chief and the attorney general in the state, the district attorney. They all, and this was and if anything more, why black people shouldn't be supporting Joe Biden, it should have been because of that. That you put this man in here, despite what he did, despite how he left Chicago residents in that manner with that situation, covering up that kid's death so that he can get reelected. That was an insult. But his brother, Ari Emanuel, ladies and gentlemen, is an agent. He was calling for Kanye West people to a full protest of Kanye West, by the way. Like, Kanye, I'm dropping from his agency, all of this stuff. He said he urged businesses to stop working with Kanye West. He is a Jewish man. But something I noticed that was interesting. Donald Trump was his former client. Oh, I'm looking at that. But also he's uh the show The Entourage is based off of him. The character Ari Gold was based off of that's played by Jeremy Piven. That was based on him. And yet he has been silent on this issue. So I'm through with yeah. You can't trust ESPN. ESPN has no credibility anymore. Neither does Ari Emanuel. Anything he suggests, I take with a grain of salt. Take everything they say with a grain of salt, ladies and gentlemen. That's the point of this. Now, the next thing I want to get into, damn it, I said it was going to be an hour, and it looks like it's going to be an hour and 5 minutes. We came close. But I wanted to wrap that up, but point that out to you about Ari Emanuel. He has been silent. Now, somebody that has been silenced, or somebody that has been silenced permanently, is Diamond from Diamond and Silk. Now, if you remember in 2016, you all remember this image or this picture of your Diamond and Silk, whose real name is Lynette Hardaway, and her sister, Rochelle Richardson, who is Silk. Well, earlier today, yesterday, I should say, it was announced that Lynette Hardaway, aka Diamond, died at the age of 51. Of course, they don't know exactly the cause of death that I had been reported, I believe, was heart disease. There was some who were saying it was COVID related. Uh, I'm not 100% sure. They don't even confirm it right here, but they say that Hardaway, known by the moniker Diamond, carved out a unique role as a black woman who loudly backed Trump and right-wing policies, earning fame first on the internet and then as a cable television commentator. Her promotion of COVID-19 falsities eventually got her dropped from Fox News, but she landed on another right-wing cable platform. So I remember when these two got on there, on their platform, going hard for Trump. Now, cause of death, they say, has not been released. So everything we've heard so far has been rumors until a prosecutor, a coroner. I'm saying prosecutor because I'm looking at this Danny Matheson trial right there. I noticed that. They say the cause of death has been released. And Donald Trump, who, if you remember, had these two on the campaign trail with him, using them as tokens, apparently. Yeah, I'm gonna say it, to get out the black vote. I remember that. We had them come on, remember this?
How great. How great. How great are they? How great are they? I turn on my television one night and I see these two on television. I say, they are the greatest. What is it? They became an internet sensation. I hope you've monetized it a little bit. You want to do a little routine? Come on, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that the media can see us and all. See them? There they go. There they go. I see them.
Lord.
I see them. I want everybody to know, yes, that we stand behind Donald J. Trump. Yes, we do, baby. Yes. Yes. We support Donald J. Trump. Yes. And we endorse Donald J. Trump. And this is going to be our next president of these United States. Yes. Yes. Oh. The silent majority has spoken, baby. Yes. We've spoken. it twisted.
That's right.
Now listen, he gonna put that wall up.
Yes, he is.
He gonna build that wall.
He gonna build it.
And he gonna build it tall.
He gonna build it tall.
And it's gonna protect us all.
He gonna protect us all.
We don't want this country to fall, do we?
No, we don't want it. No.
Build that wall, Donald J. Trump.
Build that wall. Woo! Build it.
Yeah, Trump announced her death. It was
Good. How
Timberland's.
good?
And Diamond and Silk, I'm just gonna be real. I'm gonna cut back. I'm not gonna cut nothing. Diamond and Silk were the biggest at that time. I mean, they were mamming it up. You could tell for Trump. I think they gave him some money to do that. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say, of course, that Diamond and Silk were, yeah, they were mouthpieces. I'm not gonna sit here and just say that they were the only tokens out there because your Hillary Clinton was doing the same thing. The Democratic Party does the same thing. We see that even today. Remember when she went on Roland Martin show and Roland is dancing with her, tapping and stepping. And on top of that, when they had she was on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne and Angela Yee and DJ Envy, and she was talking about hot sauce in her purse. Charlemagne, of course, he tries to get black people to vote blue no matter who. So the Democrats and the Republicans got their own tokens out there. Same thing with Michael Eric Dyson, Moise Lamont Chill. They were even talking about them on their platform. If I'm not mistaken, Mark Lamont Hill said something about Diamond. Here's what I will not do. I will never clap or applaud anybody's death because there's no coming back from that. Regardless how I feel about somebody personally, when Herman Cain died, I didn't feel that same way either. I know people are allowed to vote how they want to vote. People are allowed to have the politics that they want. We live in America; it's a free country, and people tend to be, and black people really, we do tend to be conservative. It's the issue with the Republicans of the outright ignoring blacks and the racial treatment that gets us. But the Democrats are doing the same thing, which is another problem. So I'm not going to sit here and say applaud her death or any way like that. I'm not doing that. I feel sorry for her loved ones. Yeah, because they lost their mother, they lost their sister. Someone lost their sister, their daughter. So that's nothing to be happy about. Now she actually had cable. She was on Newsmax, and they hosted her and her sister hosted 3 seasons of their talk show called Diamond and Silk Crystal Clear. Now, a memorial service is said to be announced, will be announced soon. The sisters, uh, who call themselves Trump's most outspoken and loyal supporters, have said they switched political parties to support his presidential bid and win. He carried only about 8% of black voters in the 2016 general election. He invited them to his inauguration in 2017 and later to the White House. He said, "We were just going along." In their autobiography, Uprising, published in 2020, the pair wrote that they faced criticism throughout the 2016 campaign cycle from people who called them sellouts and worse names as they stumped for Trump. They said that their time in the spotlight wasn't planned. We were just going along with our lives as usual. Then we were thrust into the political arena, all because we dared to speak out and speak up for what we believe, they wrote. So they amassed over 347,000 subscribers on YouTube and leveraged their internet stardom to land many network television appearances and regular roles at Fox News. Yeah, they got their money. They reward tuning as big business. They reward you with stuff. But you know, I am not going, like I said, I'm not going to celebrate her passing. And yeah, she got money from doing that. I would hope they got paid a lot of money at least for doing that. But you know, the Democrats were doing the same thing. So I'm not saying that they were right. Obviously, I didn't agree with them, but I'm not going to say they're wrong either when it's really both parties doing it. I'm just like, whatever. All right. Well, I'm about to wrap it up, y'all, because I said I didn't want this to be a long night. I gotta actually get up in the morning. But those were just the two things I wanted to talk about. So Diamond and Silk dead at the age of 51. Don't know. I don't usually say rest in power to people who die, but since I didn't really respect you and rest in power, I don't want to say that. I'll just say I send my thoughts and condolences to her family. They were in my prayers, so I'll just leave it at that. All right. Get the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. on Amazon Kindle. You can get that now, ladies and gentlemen. Also, join the Patreon at the link there. Advertise with us here if you would like to advertise your channel, your business, or anything. And of course, we have the two music songs and videos. Got to get on up and video soul that's available. Also, get you some Creole seasoning at NornisCreoleBlends.com. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nornis goes great with every dish. And of course, you can donate to the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle at the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to wrap it up now. This was a great live stream. We'll keep it short. We'll be back on Thursday. I'm going to be with Sean. We're going to be talking about a couple other things, all right? In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, since we have gotten on down, let us now get on up. I'll holler peace. We are at Wednesday, guys. Hump Day is tomorrow, middle of the week. Enjoy it. Peace out, fam.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop. I'll do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up,
baby. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up, baby.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.